Hey guys, welcome to this episode of Brain Dump. This is my friend Paola, who we met in San Francisco State when we were going there for undergrad a few years ago. And we haven't really talked too much since then. And I just thought she would be like a really cool guest to have on because she is doing some interesting things. And I think that she's really, inspiring. So it'd be fun to have her on the podcast. So Paola, how are you doing today?
I'm doing so good. Thank you for having me and inviting me and for those kind words. I'm super excited.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for coming on. Um, so I guess like when we met, we sort of met in like a holistic health class, and um you just seemed like a really cool person. So I like gravitated towards you. And I remember you sat like pretty close to me, and I was like, wow, there's
Yeah.
so many people in this class. And I like don't know anyone. So I like wanted to make friends with someone. Um yeah, that was
Yeah.
like I was like very heavily into school at that time. Like I was trying to like dive into like just all these internships and like all these things. And like I was like really heavy into it. And yeah, that class was like pretty different from like most of my other classes. But I just wanted to know like
Yeah.
what was your journey like in I guess like starting school and like I guess moving to San Francisco. And I don't think I know like where you're from actually.
Well, honestly, it's a roller coaster and that's just who I am. And it will probably always be a roller coaster, but that's what makes life interesting. So, I actually graduated high school from Puerto Rico. So that's where I'm
Oh
from.
wow.
So I moved to San Francisco straight from Puerto Rico and then started attending SF State as a psychology major, which I have always loved because I guess I kind of always grew up with the psychologist mindset because my mom's a psychologist. So, and I love helping people like live better lives, like helping them figure out how to live a better life for themselves. So that's what got me interested in psychology and also philosophy. Um, I was also studying philosophy at SF State. That was going to be my minor. Um, but yeah, so we did meet in holistic health class, and that was kind of just like a random, like extracurricular credit class for me. But I ended up attending SF State only for 3 semesters. And then I dropped out because I had a revelation, like I always do. And y'all will come to find that throughout this podcast. Um, But my revelation was that I wanted to be a singer. All my life, I have sang. Like, I've always loved singing. And when I was in second, no, what was it? Fifth grade, that is when I started voice lessons. So I've been taking voice lessons ever since fifth grade. And up until high school, it was kind of like off a little bit. And then again in college age a little bit. And it's kind of been on and off from there. But I've always loved it. So I decided, you know what? This is what I want to do. Let me just do it. So I did. I dropped out in 20, let me think, was it like 2018, 2019, somewhere around there? And, it ended up being like a total failure. And I'll tell you why. It wasn't because like I failed to become a like a successful like singer songwriter. It was because I didn't even like try. I didn't put the intention. Like I was working throughout the time that I wasn't in school, I lived in SF for a full year after I dropped out, and I was just working. And just songwriting wasn't in me. But then again, I wasn't even really trying. So I feel like for anyone out there, if you're going to have if you're going to have a plan to do something very significant with your life and make huge changes, you better have like an actual plan and stick to it.
Yeah.
Because I didn't. And I needed structure, I needed direction, and I was just, in a rut. So that's what happened there. Um,
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, even if you failed, it's like you still made the leap, like you still tried to do it. And I think, like, I guess, like, would you say you learned a lot from doing that?
um, Absolutely. I've learned a lot from that as well as many other things that have come after that. Um, but it's like just what I told you. If I'm gonna make this huge plan or make this huge decision, I need to have a plan and actually put it into action. Otherwise, there is not going to be any traction. Nothing's going to happen.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, that's really interesting because I feel like my story has been like very gradual and like moving around a lot. Like I I transferred to SF State, so I was like I did a lot of like community college before, so I was just like I just like want to be done. Like I just like was taking like 16 to like 19 units a semester. Just like I need to just get this done like as soon as possible. So I was when I was there, I was like I'm graduating. Like that was like my only goal. Like I was like I didn't care about anything else. I was like I just want to finish. That's all I want to do. And then after I graduated, I was starting, I was doing music a little bit, like just music production on my own while I was in school and stuff. But my education wasn't really in music. So I always felt like when I was there, I felt pretty detached from my major and my course of study because I was studying theater, but I found myself like a lot more into film acting and a lot more into, music, which I wasn't studying at all. So it's almost like even though I wanted to graduate and I wanted to finish, like a lot of what I was studying just like wasn't that interesting to me. Like I was just doing it to like
mhm.
get done. And, I had a lot of like cognitive dissonance like while I was in school because I was like, I'm just doing this like for credits,
Yeah,
and that was like a lot of my experience like going to SF State. So I didn't feel like great, while I was in school, but I was like I'm gonna like have fun and I'm gonna make the most of it and like get it done.
for
And then
sure.
yeah, and then after that I started doing more music. I felt frustrated because I felt like I didn't have like a lot of the education in what I wanted to do that I like was actually passionate about. So I felt like I had to learn a lot on my own by like practicing a lot at home, like looking up YouTube videos of like how to do certain things.
Oh my
And
gosh.
yeah,
Have you heard the quote? I forget who it's by, but it says, "Don't let school get in the way of your education."
yeah, yeah, I have heard
Like,
that.
that quote is just so mind blowing. And it's crazy that you had that experience because I was having that experience too. And I kind of was just like, why am I here if I'm not actually like enjoying what I'm doing? Like, if I'm not
Yeah,
present in my like studies, if I don't really see this going anywhere, if I don't like want this career path, like why am I here? And it's also crazy. We never like did we ever talk about music together? Because I don't think
I don't
I
think
knew.
so. Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't
I
think I
had
knew that
no
either.
idea. That's crazy. I
Yeah,
had
that's
no idea you
funny.
were into music
Yeah,
and vice versa. Like that is so interesting. Until like afterwards that we've been following each other on Instagram since like that class.
yeah,
But it wasn't
Yeah.
until recently that I realized, I was like, oh, wow, how did we not talk about this?
Yeah, I don't know why. I guess I don't I can't tell you. I don't know why we didn't talk about it. But like I think I remember like you posted something on Instagram of like you singing like once, and then I was like, oh, she
Mm,
does do music, but that's like all I
yeah.
remember. It was
You
like
know
after.
what? You just reminded me of something. I totally forgot that in my year that I was studying after I left SF State, I actually was doing like YouTube and posting covers on YouTube.
Oh yeah.
So, man, I feel like I'm not giving myself like any credit. I actually did do music. Like I was doing covers on YouTube and I was taking voice lessons and even piano lessons, which I had taken piano lessons growing up, but I just
Hmm.
never mastered it. So I was kind of like starting from square one as
Yeah.
a 19-year-old. But yeah, I did do that, but it wasn't consistent. I just wasn't consistent with it.
Yeah. Music is like very it's like all about consistency, I feel like it's easy to like forget things if you like don't do them. And like it's weird
Mm-hmm.
because like I played guitar a lot, like sort of like when I was like 16 and like in my early 20s, I would like play a lot of guitar. And then like there was a time when like I just stopped playing for some reason. And then like I started playing again and it was just like I forgot like so much. And it was just such a weird feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And same
Yeah,
with
I
like,
think
same with singing too. Like sometimes if you like don't sing for a while, like you have to like readjust to like, having to, you're using your voice again in that way.
honestly, yes. I think with everything that you do in life, you have to be consistent. Like literally anything. Like with your health, your diet, or like exercise habits, mindfulness habits, anything that you do, you have to be consistent for it to actually take any effect. So that's super interesting. I feel like right now in my life is the first time, or at least for the past year, has been the first time that I've actually like taken that advice. Because I'm sure you hear everywhere that be consistent, right? I'm
Hmm.
sure you hear that everywhere. But this past year was like the first time that I've actually put it into use and I've seen how it has changed my life.
Yeah.
And specifically the diet and exercise part, because as I said before, it has been a literal roller coaster of just a lot of things. Like
Hmm.
you, yeah, you don't even know. Like I am the type of person that is just very, I used to call it, I'm just very intuitive, you know. I just super intuitive and I just do what feels right. But recently I've learned that it is actually impulsiveness, not intuitive. So, have you heard of the DISC, like personality assessment?
I don't think so.
So, it's basically a personality assessment that there's like four different categories of personalities. It's DISC is the acronym,
Hmm.
but the D stands for dominance, the I stands for influence, the S is, I don't remember exactly what it stands for, but basically it's like security. Um, and then the C is conscientiousness, but it basically means like analytical. So
Hmm.
the D is where you're just like super driven. It's like you're dominant, you like want to get shit done, and like they can also be kind of like asshole-ish because they're kind of just super focused on what is it is they want to do, and like anyone else
Mhm.
that isn't like straight to the point, they're kind of like impatient with. Um and then the I is influence. So it's the people that are like super talkative and friendly. When you walk into a room, they just like, you know that they're there. They're very like, their presence is known. But they can also be super
Mhm.
impulsive and impatient.
This is the
And
I.
this is I, yes.
Okay.
And then the S is like, actually, it's about, I want to say 60, no. Yeah, about 60% of the population in the US is an S.
Mm.
So that's those people that just want to feel safe and secure. They're a little bit more meek and sweet and just want to feel safe and secure. They don't really take a lot of risks. So it's that's the S. And then
Yeah.
C is conscientiousness. So it's your analytical people, numbers based, everything they look in their mind. It's like math. It's like, well, what's the ratio of this to that? What's the percentage of this? What's the likelihood that this will happen versus that? Very logical thinkers. So,
Mhm.
with telling you that it's D, I, S, and C, what what do you think that I am? And then I'll tell you what I think you are.
Okay. Let me
It can
see.
be a
I think,
mix. So like it could be a mix of them.
yeah. I think I think you're like maybe mostly an I, and then maybe like a little bit of D and like a little bit of S.
Okay, I'm laughing because you literally picked it out. I am an I with a
Mhm.
trailing D. So that means
Okay.
like I'm mainly I, but I'm also like a high D. So
Mhm.
I is first, D is second. I would say that you are a mixture of, see, the thing is like I don't know you very well. So I'm just basing it off of like
Yeah.
the
You can
past that
guess.
I've seen you and like right now. I would
Mhm.
say you're a mix of an I and an S.
I
I
think
don't
that's
know.
pretty accurate. I think I'm mostly an S, but I think I do have like some I, like for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's no way, like, I don't know. I just feel like if you weren't an I don't think we would have even kept in touch or be here right now.
Yeah. I think you're right. Like maybe I do have I, but I like don't
I think you're
realize that I
mostly
have I.
S with an
Yeah.
I, but yeah, super interesting.
Yeah. Because I feel like I get bored. Like I feel like I'm an S, but like I'm not just an S because I'll get bored if I'm not doing like something different or like something off
Hmm.
the cuff. Like I have to do this stuff to like keep myself entertained or else I'll just be bored. So like there is definitely
Yeah,
like some impulsiveness
that's
that I will like let out.
for sure.
Yeah.
Well, this personality assessment is something that I learned in my team when, like, in real estate. So,
Oh, okay.
that right now I'm a real estate agent and I just got
Hmm.
my license like a few months ago.
That's
And
awesome.
in my team, thank you. In my team, they are very centered around this disc assessment because they want you to understand people and potential clients and speak to them in their language. So, like, D's want to be talked to straight to the point. They don't want you to include a lot of details. It's just here, this is the final result. That's all they want to know. And results, results, results. Eyes, they want you to let eyes want you to let them talk. So like the way to build rapport with an eye is to just listen to them and like don't interrupt them. And then
Mm,
S's, they're very slow pace. So they fear change. So you need to talk to them like very like, slow pace, like, hey, buying houses is a huge deal and it's a huge
yeah.
change. And the majority of the population in the US is an S. So this is a really scary thing for them. So you just kind of want to reassure them, hey, this is like kind of like a big change, so we're going to take it slow. And they'll feel secure in that. And then
Mhm.
C's, don't you dare talk about emotions or how they feel about the place.
Okay.
You need to talk to them about the numbers and statistics. All they want to know is logistically, how is this going to work for them?
Yeah.
So that's something that I learned. And I learned a lot about myself while learning about the disc because I learned that back to what we were talking about initially, that I'm not intuitive, I'm impulsive. And it's helped me become like way more self-aware, and I need to kind of like stop and slow down,
Mhm.
um because I can make a lot of impulsive decisions. And you know what, I'm still making impulsive decisions, but I'm like thinking of it a lot more. It's just that's what is just natural to me, so it's kind of hard to break that habit. But
Yeah. That's cool. Like, so you learn that in real estate? I guess like when have a client or someone or just like anyone that you're talking to, are you pretty good at like assessing them like pretty quickly, or does it like take you time for some people?
um, I think just the more you practice it, the better you'll get at it. Sometimes you'll be able to tell immediately, and sometimes it'll take some time because they may appear to be an S, but they're actually a C. Or you think they're, I don't know. It's hard to confuse D's and I's, to be honest. The S and C's are, I feel like, a little bit harder to determine, but the I's you'll know immediately because they won't stop talking.
Mhm.
And the D's you'll also know because it's like they'll be like looking at their watch a lot of the time, like, okay, I need to go. Like, what's next? They'll be in a rush.
Yeah.
They'll have a plan. They'll be ask really straightforward questions. They're kind of like the dominant person of the conversation. But
Mhm.
I think after some practice, like, you should try this too. Like, this is a great like tip for life. Try to assess people and see what they are, and talk to them in their language and how they like to be talked to, and that's how you'll gain their trust. It sounds a little bit
Yeah.
manipulative, but I promise, like, just use it for good.
Yeah, it seems really useful because like I'll have clients like that come in my store and I'll like, and some people like want to be talked to, some people don't want to be talked to. Some people are like, okay, what's the price? Like, what's the final price?
Mm-hmm.
And then some people are like trying on like five different watches and they like can't decide. Like, there's so much that goes into it. Like, I feel like I could definitely use it like with what I do too.
Yeah, for sales,
Yeah,
it's really good.
yeah.
Really good, because that's like the biggest thing is like you'll buy you'll pretty much buy anything from someone that you trust,
Mhm.
right? Like, someone that you trust tells you something, like, you'll go to your friend that bought this product. Hey, what do you think about this? Oh, I love it. Okay, I trust you. Let me buy it. So it's all about just gaining their trust. But
Yeah,
let me,
yeah.
something actually really interesting that I think
Mhm.
that you'll be shocked by is I actually don't like real estate. Yeah.
Damn. Wait, how long have you been doing it?
Since the end of July.
Okay, so it's like pretty new.
Yeah, but I don't like
Yeah.
it. Like I already know. And it's
Okay.
not going to get any better than this. See, this is part of my impulsiveness. It's like I
Yeah,
also know what I want and what I don't want. So I'm like not willing to settle for anything that I don't want. Does
that's
that
good.
make sense? Like
Yeah,
it's
like
good
that's
and it's
good.
bad. It's like a good thing and a bad thing because it's been a challenge to stick to something that in long enough to like have an actual like result coming from it.
Yeah, I feel you. Like I have that issue too in my life where I like want to do something and then I like don't stick with it long enough because I get interested in something else and I want to do that. And then I feel like I'm like going in circles sometimes. And like, I don't know. I just feel like I want to try different things. So it's like I can't blame myself because like all that like trying new things is like really important to me.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I do understand that like it is hard to like, always want to try like new things and stuff like that.
But here's the
And
thing
yeah,
though. Oh, you want go ahead.
I was just gonna say, yeah, like maybe I don't know, maybe it's like an age thing because we're like young and like we should be doing that.
Yes. Yes. That is exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah.
It's like we're in our 20s. Like this is the time to explore what it is that you want to do because I mean, here's the thing. Like Abraham Lincoln was a nobody until his 40s.
Mhm.
Have you like heard of like his story? Like he failed at this, he failed at that, he tried that, he failed, he failed, he failed, he failed, he failed
Yeah.
so many times before he actually succeeded. And it wasn't until he was 40 years old. And I'm like, okay, that at least for me puts me at ease. And I'm like, it's okay. Like you're 23. I'm 23. I'm like, you
Mhm.
have time to figure it out. This is what you should be doing right now.
You can still do
So,
it.
yeah. So, Abraham Lincoln literally didn't he didn't succeed until he was 40. And here we are at 23 or in our 20s in general and stressing. At least I'm stressing. I don't know about you. I can't be the only one, but I'm like stressing about the fact that I just haven't found anything that I want to do with the rest of my life. And also the
Mhm.
concept of sticking to one career path for the rest of your life, I I don't like it personally.
Yeah, like I think that like society, like we put those people on a pedestal who do that. And like sometimes, that works for like certain people. Like some people, they're just like, I want to do this. And they know from like when they're like
Mhm.
10,
I feel
like
like those are the
15 years old.
studious people, the studious kids growing up, the ones that are like
Mhm.
always just on top of school, they love school. Like I feel like for those people, that's a great option, but I don't know. Were
Yeah,
you
like
that kid growing up?
no, I wasn't at all. I had like really bad grades in high school. And even like when I started college, I had like really bad grades too. And I like never had like a really good relationship with school just because I felt like I
You've
didn't
never liked
resonate
it.
with a lot of it. Yeah, I've never liked it. And like I wanted to, but I just like wasn't for me. Like I wanted to,
Mm,
but it just, a lot of it just wasn't for me. So I definitely feel that.
I totally get that. I was kind of like
Mhm.
in the middle. Like I
Yeah.
had good grades, but I wasn't like in the top, like the top of my class. Like I would get mostly A's and then like some B's and like maybe one C. But
Okay.
I And it's just honestly like school is just so not for like me. Not because school is bad, but like the structure of school just doesn't vibe with my personality type and how I like to learn. And I'm sure that's the truth for a
Yeah.
lot of people out there. It's not that you're
Mhm.
stupid. It's not that you just are bad at school. It's that school is bad for you. It's bad for
Yeah, it's
how
not.
you like to learn or how you best learn.
Yeah, because I remember like being in high school and like I would just want to get up all the time. Like I just wanted to be outside. Like I wanted to get up. And like as soon as I like sat down in my desk, like my brain would just like shut off, which was like
Mm-mm.
not allowing me to learn. And like I don't know. I mean there were some classes that I really liked, like history classes I was like always really into. But like with math, it was just like I just did not really think it was cool. I didn't like it was hard for me to connect it to like, what I was going through and like yeah, I don't know. It was just like always like sort of tough for me. And like
Yeah.
it seemed like some people it just like they were into it and it just like worked really well for them. For me, it just like was pretty hard and like I wanted to like learn in like the real world and
Right.
stuff like that.
That's how you should learn. I feel like that is how you should learn. Have you seen like those pictures or videos where it shows like the evolution of a car, like from the 1800s or whenever,
Hmm.
and how it's evolved to today and how much it's improved. And then you'll look at a classroom in the
It's like the
1800s
same
and look at
shit.
a classroom today. It's literally
That's
the
crazy.
exact same. And I am just like, this is something that is so important because it literally shapes who, like, it shapes society.
Everyone
It
becomes, yeah.
shapes society. And the fact that the school system is just not improving and there's so much fluff in like they say that or there's only 2 hours of actual learning in a classroom in a day. The rest of it is just fluff. Can you
Hmm.
believe that? And I'm like, this makes me like not want to take my future kids to a normal school and just homeschool them so they can just do school, maybe even finish early and then have
Yeah,
fun throughout the day and go and live and explore. And I've actually also heard of a school system that it's like not a school system, but just kind of a program that has like a handful of kids and a teacher, and they'll literally like travel the world as they learn. They learn about the
that's so
place that they're
cool.
in, right? That would be so cool. And I
Yeah.
get like that's super privileged because obviously not everyone can afford that. I hope that
Hmm.
one day like I can just give such a rich educational experience to my kids, but I think that's how you should learn. And even if you're not traveling, like you should not just be sitting in a classroom. That I guess it's kind of to prepare you for like a 9 to 5 job at an office, just
Yeah.
sitting there like
Mhm.
typing away in your cubicle at your desk. You're sitting all day long, which is terrible for you, by the way. And I think preparing you and brainwashing you to be like okay with that. Like now you're at a 9 to 5 and you just, I mean, here's the thing. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with working a 9 to 5. Like I've done it and will probably do it for a few more years in my life. But I just feel like there is more out there for certain kind of people like me.
Yeah, I think so. And like, yeah, and like I always sort of sensed that. I was like, I don't like this. Like like when I was in high school, I was like, I don't like this. Like there has to be like another way to do this because it was like I feel like it was like the time in my life when I had like the most energy. Like when I had the most like physical energy, I was like being forced to just like sit there. And like that really bothered me. And like that's like part of the reason why I got into acting was like I took like an acting class in high school and I was like, oh, I can actually like get up, like I can like, pretend to like be someone else. Like it was just like that was like very freeing for me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love that. But you know what's interesting? And like a lot of schools just don't have that opportunity to even take an acting class. For example, I had like the privilege to go to high school in Texas. So I've been everywhere, okay? I've lived everywhere. But my freshman year of high school, I lived in Dallas, Texas, and I went to such an amazing school called Richardson High School. And it was a magnet school, which basically means that it has like specialties and like it had a communications magnet program, like a health science, a drama science, or sorry, drama magnet program, had so many opportunities for me as an artistic like child. That was like heaven for me. There was a drill team, I was on the drill team. There was like country western dance team that I almost became a part of, but I ended up moving. And there was like choir and like multiple choirs and like the drama magnet program, which I wasn't in
Mhm.
at the time. I was in the health science magnet program because I don't even know why, don't ask. But um so that was so amazing to me because I had never had so many like opportunities to do artistic things in school. And then I moved to Puerto Rico my sophomore year of high school.
I see.
And that was a huge shift for me. Like I'm very like lucky and fortunate that I was able to go to a private school in Puerto Rico, because if you didn't go to a private school, you did not get quality education.
Mm.
And at that school, even the education compared to like the free public school in Texas, the quality was significantly lower. Like it was like a college preparatory school. It was like the top school in like the southern coast. But having come from like a public school in Texas with so much opportunity and such high quality like education, like I was in pre-AP classes my freshman year, and that is just not wasn't a thing in Puerto Rico at my school in Puerto Rico. And there was nothing, no extracurriculars for artistic like kids. It was just sports and like the most basic sports. And it
It
was
was
just
meh.
yeah, it was just not it, like coming from like Texas, it was a huge shift. And I think it was like the epitome of like the education system today.
Okay, so is that the only time that you spent in Puerto Rico, or were you like from Puerto Rico?
No, so I am from there. Like all
Oh,
my
okay.
family is 100% from there. My parents still live there.
Mhm.
And I lived there from when I was a baby till like kindergarten. And then after kindergarten, I so when I was actually there, pre-K and kindergarten, I went to the same school I went back to because it was like from pre-K to 12th grade. So I actually went back to the same school. I learned English there because it was like an American school where they taught you everything in English to prepare
Mm,
you for college in the US.
I see.
But yeah, I've lived in Florida, Arizona, Texas, and Puerto Rico, and as you know, SF, and now Utah. So I've I've been everywhere.
Yeah, that's a lot. Like I've also lived like a lot of places. Like I'm from New York. I was like born in New York.
Oh, that's so
Um,
cool.
yeah, and then I moved to Arizona when I was like pretty young, like when I was like 8 years
Oh,
old. And
where
then in Tucson,
and where? Oh, Tucson. Oh,
Tucson.
cool.
Yeah. Yeah, and then I moved to California like when I was like 20, I guess. And that was like I moved to like San Diego. So that was like 10, I think like 10 years, 10 or 9 years ago now. So I've been here for a while, but I've sort of felt like I've been anywhere because I lived in San Diego, I've lived in SF, and now I live here. So I've like I haven't lived in like another country, obviously, but like I don't know. I guess I'm just curious about like Puerto Rico because it seems like it's like so close to us, but it's like so different too. Like I guess I'm
For
wondering like
sure.
what's like the culture like and like compared to here and everything.
It's completely different. It's
Mhm.
like its own country, although we're a US territory. So it's not really considered to be its own country. But
Mm,
it's
okay.
like, for example, like you go to Hawaii, right? And it's like totally different,
Yeah.
but it's still like Hawaii. I don't know about to you, but to me, it still feels like the US because everything's like very organized and like put together
Yeah.
compared to like when you go to a third world country. It's you can just immediately tell everything's so different. Like the streets
Yeah.
just aren't as maintained, and like there's like abandoned buildings everywhere, and like the quality
There's like
of life
goats
is
walking
just
around and stuff. Like
yeah,
yeah.
it's just different. And that's how Puerto Rico is. It's very different. Like I don't know. I don't know how to describe it, but it is very different. I would say in San Juan, which is the capital, it's like most like the US, but still not the
Mhm.
same. Yeah, I mean, it's
Yeah.
beautiful. It's absolutely stunning. Like the beaches are amazing, and the nature of it all is amazing. And the people are amazing too. It's just so different. It's a different culture, it's different people. And like the people there, Latinos are just so warm and friendly, and
Mhm.
it's very likely that if you go and meet a local that they'll invite you to their house and like make you dinner
Wow.
and stuff. Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, I actually like um I was in Jamaica like last year because my brother got married and like that was like an experience that was like that for me. Like it was like, it was like it's almost like a third world country in a lot of ways because there's like you just see like the class difference like when you go there to the airport like you just see like because I we stayed at a resort for the wedding and it was like really nice and you just see like there's like a lot of like properties with like gates that are like for like wealthy people and then you see like these like slums and like just like sort of like buildings that are just like not well maintained and like stuff like that and you just see like the contrast and like that can be like that was like sort of like jarring for me to like see like just how different people were living in like in the same place like on the same island like there's like this like like this group that's like wealthy and then there's this group that's like they're living in like these conditions that like you know aren't good and like they just seem like really tough and like that and then there's like people like with wealth are like trying to like protect it from those people and it's just like I don't know it's like sort of like the US but it's like because the US we obviously have like class where like there's some people who are like super wealthy and there's like people who are like less wealthy but there it's like more extreme it's just like more extreme and that like is
Mm-hmm.
jarring to see sometimes
Yeah,
yeah.
it really is. It's just, it's different. And I think I don't think that I would like live in Puerto Rico again full time.
Hmm.
Um, for a lot of reasons, but maybe like for the summers, a few months, but not like actually full time. But yeah,
Yeah.
it is a different quality of life, but I feel like that's also why travel is so important it's not just something that it is a luxury for sure, but
Mhm.
I think it's not something just to be seen as a vacation. I think it's to just
Yeah.
learn about how other people are living their lives. And you can get so caught up in your own world and your own bubble and thinking like this is all there is. But then you go like across the ocean and see other people's reality is just so different from yours. And it just kind of expands your mind. It like makes
Yeah.
you feel like there's more out there. Like there's so much to be grateful for. And even like even countries that are like in a better state than the US, like it is so cool to just go and see that, and like this is people's reality every day, and there's so much more out there, and my problems that I blow up to be these huge issues really are so insignificant in terms of the world. Now imagine the universe. In terms of the universe, your problems are really really fucking small. Like
Yeah, because you can't see outside of yourself a lot of the time.
mhm.
Yeah. And like
I think
traveling helps just see like it just like puts you in your place in like a good way where it's like or you see like, okay, this is just how I'm living, like in my little circle, but like other people, live differently and like there's like different priorities. Like people have different priorities and like prioritize like certain things in like different places, and like sometimes like I feel like sometimes like we fit like our personality can sometimes be like a better fit for like a certain culture, like and like
mhm.
sometimes it helps to like experience those things and like get validated by like, oh, I really like what they're doing like in this country. I like that, like I want my life to be more like that. And like I think you can learn that by like traveling, and then you could either like bring it home to you or you can like, I don't know, maybe like go live there and like be fulfilled like living in a culture that you like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
traveling just, I don't know if you've heard, but like some people say that at least solo travel, like traveling is amazing, but even like solo traveling can teach you so much more than reading like 1,000 books. I feel
Mhm.
like if you're having a hard time in your life, you feel like everything is just so repetitive and mundane, and like you're not growing, you're not learning, like go on a solo trip somewhere that you've never been.
Mhm.
Obviously be like safe and choose a place that will be like a good stepping stone. Obviously you don't want like as a woman, like you don't want to go to solo travel in India for the first time.
Yeah.
And I say this because of my mom's personal experience. She went to India alone and just didn't have a good experience as a woman. Like it's
Mhm.
just different. Nothing against the country or its culture or anything, but don't like put yourself in the hardest like place to be immediately, but like little stepping stones. But definitely, I know like before we started the podcast we were talking about how you might want to move or you just need to travel. I think that's what you should
Yeah.
do. You should, if you don't feel ready to solo travel, like go with a friend, but like you should definitely solo travel somewhere and then see what you learn. You'll learn so much about yourself. I actually haven't done it myself, but I've
Yeah.
heard a lot about it and would actually love to do it myself as well.
Yeah. I feel like I should definitely do it. Like, definitely something I'm gonna like plan for soon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I guess this is like maybe a good time to wrap up. I don't know. Did you have
Yeah, I was
anything
gonna
else like
say
on
we've
your
been doing
mind?
this for a while.
Yeah, but yeah, it was like a really good conversation, and we'll definitely like talk more and stuff because I'm curious to see like what you do next,
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Maybe this has inspired me to start my own podcast. Maybe we can continue the conversation
Yeah,
if
that sounds
slash
good.
when I do that.
Yeah, let me know, or like let me know also if you have any questions on like how to get started or anything like that too.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, that'd be great. Thanks.
Yeah, for sure.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate this was a really cool, awesome conversation. It was nice catching up with you again.
Yeah, thanks. It was like really nice catching up with you, and I think this is like a really cool episode, so I'm excited to put it up.
I'm excited to hear it.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, thank you for tuning in today. This is like my friend Paola again, and we're just like really I'm just really happy I got to do this. So yeah, thank you guys for watching and or listening, and I will see you guys soon.